Hey Banksy class, it's the third time I'm going to attempt this. I'm not having much luck with technology this afternoon. Third time lucky. So, you don't know this, but I know that this is my third attempt at recording this. The other two went wrong. So hopefully, fingers crossed, this one goes okay. Because I would like to share a story with you called Lightwing the Swallow. Remember, a swallow is a type of bird. It's another living thing. And living things are what we will be studying in science when we return to school in September. Now, it's a very, very short story. So, are you ready? Lightwing the Swallow. Lightwing came out of a white egg in a nest made of mud. He was very tiny indeed, and at first he could see nothing in the dark barn where his mother and father had built the nest. But very soon his eyes made out the high rafters above him and the beam on which his nest was put. He looked at a hole in the barn roof through which he could see the blue sky. It was summertime, so the sky was often blue. Lightwing crouched down in the nest with his brother and sister and waited impatiently for his mother and father to come with tidbits for him to feed. He was a funny little thing, rather bare, with very few feathers at first, but gradually they grew, and soon Lightwing and his brother and sister were fluffy little nestlings, sitting with ever open beaks waiting for flies that their parents caught on the wing outside the big barn. Lightwing was a swallow. He had a marvellous steel blue back, a white vest, and a streak of chestnut red across his chest. His legs were small, and his beak was wide in its gape. His wings were long, and his tail was forked prettily. He longed for the day to come when he might fly off with his father and mother. But when that day came, he was rather afraid. His brother flew out of the nest and through the door as if he had been flying his whole short life. But Lightwing and his sister sat on the edge of the nest, trembling with fear. Their mother suddenly flew behind them and tipped them over the edge of the nest. Lightwing fell, but as he fell, he opened his wings, and lo and behold, he could fly. He could actually fly. His wings flashed through the barn door. He was up in the air and away, rejoicing to be in the clear, sunny, blue summertime sky. He learnt to catch flies on the wing with his mouth wide open. He learnt to skim the water and pick up the flies hovering over the surface. He knew that when rain was coming, the flies flew lower, and he followed them. When the weather was fine, the flies flew high, and Lightwing soared below the clouds, following where his food was going. Then people said, "The swallows fly high, it will be fine. The swallows fly low, there will be rain." Lightwing grew strong and tireless as he flew throughout the warm summer days. But one night there was a chill in the air. Lightwing was surprised. He did not like this. "Winter's coming," said the robin in his creamy voice. "What is winter?" cried Lightwing in his pretty twitter. "Is it something I can eat?" One night a chill northwest wind began to blow. Lightwing felt restless. He wanted to fly somewhere, but he did not know where. He wanted to go where he could no longer feel the cold wind. He flew to the barn roof to ask his friends what he should do. Hundreds and hundreds of swallows settled on the old red barn roof. They chattered and they twittered restlessly. The wind blew behind them. And then, quite suddenly, a few swallows rose up into the air and flew southwards, with the chill wind behind them. In a few moments, all the waiting hundreds had risen too, and with one accord flew to the south. "Goodbye," called the robin. "Goodbye until the springtime." Lightwing called goodbye and flew with the others. Over land and over sea, he sped with the swallows as fast as an express train to a warmer southern land where flies were plentiful and the sun was hot. And there Lightwing is now. But when the spring comes again, he will return and maybe build his nest in your barn or mine. See, so a really, really short story. However, again, so informative. This little short story tells us all about how the swallows, you'll see them often in your garden. But what season do you see them in? Because there's a particular season that they fly away because the wind The weather is too cold for them. So, what seasons do we see them in our garden? And what season do they fly away? I wonder if you can tell me. I would be really interested to know.